sci-fi, anime, video games, comic books. If you've been made fun of for it, we're probably gonna talk about it.
This is Nerd Radio.
Excellent!
Whoa, indeed. Welcome to another episode of Nerd Radio. Wherever you get your podcast is part of the B-Pod Studios Network and all over your social media at Nerd Radio 101. I am your host, Chuck Bean. I am joined by James.
Hello.
And Mr. Al Beck. Yeah, that's what I said before we started the show. We were so funny.
I know.
Talking about absolutely nothing.
Yep.
And now it's going to be significantly less funny.
There's a lot of trash talk, though. That was where all the fun was.
That's true. Absolutely. So we are here to tell you about everything going on in the world of nerds, or at least a couple of stories that caught our fancy. And let's start with the world of professional wrestling.
Let go of my fancy.
No, I will never let go of your fancy.
Maybe that's
Oh, I don't like it when you touch my fancy. Don't catch
the
it.
softest fancy I've ever touched. So delicate and gentle.
Here's your one chance, Al's fancy. Don't let me down.
Yeah.
I highly recommend if you have a chance to grab Al's fancy, you do it.
If you get the opportunity, if you're out at a live event and you see Al Beck,
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So if the opportunity presents itself,
touch the fancy.
seize the day and grab that fancy.
So that we can get hauled out of wherever you are by the Rift Promotions crew.
Just bring
Yeah,
food.
I've seen the Riffs promotion crew. I don't think you have anything to worry about if you
Yeah.
want to grab his fancy.
Just make sure you bring food so it can be a fancy feast.
Oh, there you go.
There's a dirty joke in there somewhere. There's really a dirty joke calling it a fancy feast.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Especially because Fancy Feast is also a cat food. So
Right.
I could easily go down
There's
the
an-
pea alley.
There's an ass-eating joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's lots of eating of lots of things. But I'm going to refrain.
All right, that has nothing to do with nerd stuff. So let's get
Yeah.
into what's going
I
on.
know some nerds could be really into that ass.
Some of them are.
You know?
Some of them are, but that's not the show we're running
You
here.
know, Cardi B's got a song about some of that stuff. It's mainstream.
Let's get deep into this fancy. Let's go.
Going deep in the fancy now.
So we have talked extensively, especially over the last couple of months, and kind of, given a lot of shit to AEW for some of their events that they've done. But over the weekend, they had their
Jeez Louise.
pay-per-view Double or
I forgot
Nothing.
that was happening.
Yeah, so did I, honestly.
I totally forgot.
And then I checked Twitter on Sunday night right after the Mick Foley A&E biography, which was charming.
Was it good?
As expected. Mick Foley
I haven't
still...
gotten to it yet.
Yeah, Mick Foley, hell of a guy. It's awesome to see people talking good about
Excited.
him.
He's going to be in town in the end of August with
Yeah.
the Astronomicon. He'll
Absolutely.
be there. So
Yeah, that's gonna
hopefully
be-
we'll have an opportunity to bump elbows with him or
That would be absolutely cool.
grab his fancy maybe.
Really need these A&E biographies to wrap up because
I think I heard last week there's 8 of them.
there's 8 of them.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we're at least 6 deep. So I think there's only a
Because-
couple more weeks.
Okay, yeah, because it needs to end because I am having a blast with the biographies. I haven't made it to Mick Foley yet, but
Yep.
it's on the list. I'm going to get to it. But, once again, after watching the Ultimate Warrior one, I was like, maybe I should give this another try. And I pulled up and I watched, 20 minutes of Raw, and I was like, God, this is...
No, it's awful.
It's awful.
That's what I
This
told
is
you the last time he
so,
did this.
so
NXT and AEW. And
bad.
you've already tried AEW.
No, AEW, geez Louise, was terrible. That was awful.
But
The
they're-
powerhouse
at least there's-
Kenny Omega.
Yeah, at least they got JR, though, so you can at least have a
Yes.
slobber knocker over there,
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go through it all over again. I'm gonna watch Mick Foley's, and then I'm gonna at least I should watch the Hell in a Cell match where it gets thrown off the top, and then just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying?
So AEW had their Double or Nothing pay-per-view, which coming off of WrestleMania about a month or two ago, this would be kind of be one of the big ones that they had to get right. And I have to say that from what I saw on Twitter, and then a friend of mine sent me a completely reputable website link that I could go to watch the last hour or so of it. They delivered.
They did?
Yeah.
Good show.
Every wrestling match was very, very good. The
I don't
match.
even know who was supposed to be competing with each other other than Jericho's troupe with
Yeah,
whoever
the inner circle
MJF.
versus the Pineapple.
Yeah, the Pineapple.
And The Young Bucks took on Eddie Kingston and John Moxley.
Okay.
Which was cool. They've put Eddie Kingston and John Moxley together as a tag team, and they come out to Wild Thing.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of the baseball movie.
Yeah,
with,
that's
Charlie Sheen. Is that why?
Major
that's
League.
the version.
Major League, thank you.
They grabbed the version for
Wild
Major League.
Thing.
And I think they grabbed it specifically because the crowd will sing along with it like they do with Judas.
Oh, okay.
Because they had a full live crowd for Daly's place where they did Double or Nothing.
Okay.
They had it on
Did
Friday.
they always come out in the crowd too?
Yeah.
With the Wild Thing? Okay. Is that a Mox thing?
That's a John Moxley thing,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
I just remember back in the Shield.
Formerly Dean Ambrose. The one match that I saw that was really good was the Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy and Pac. And it was one of those things where even if you're a jaded wrestling fan and you're like, well, Kenny Omega's going to win this. I know he's going to win this. They still had some very close falls that made you believe that, like,
You might not win.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're
Jeez
actually
Louise, he might not pull off the victory.
Yeah. And so that was great to see. And then the thing at the end, which was kind of a cinematic match, the Stadium Stampede between the Inner Circle and the Pineapple. The Inner Circle, Chris Jericho's crew came out. They rappelled down like the scoreboard because Stadium Stampede takes place at the football stadium that is at Daly's place.
Did they do a Stadium Stampede last year too?
They
that
did.
name rings a bell.
Yeah, they did. It was Chris Jericho's Inner Circle against like the Young Bucks and Matt Hardy, and I think Kenny Omega might have been part of that match or whatever, because that was where Sammy Guevara got hit with the golf cart.
golf cart thing. Okay, that's right.
But that match truly delivered in a way that the Blood and Guts match and what was it, the Exploding Death match, did not.
Yep.
Like they didn't give you 20 minutes of wow, this is neat, followed by an ending of like ugh. Like the ending was good.
So no.
No, no, not at all. So it was good to see that, see some good follow through, and it was one of those things. That's what I told Amy while we were watching the Mick Foley biography, and of course they talk about the Hell in a Cell match and they talk about some of his other stuff. And when wrestling is really good, there's nothing else like it in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's similarly when they can make you believe that, oh, maybe the thing I thought was going to happen isn't actually what's going to. Maybe it's going to be this big surprise that I didn't expect is going to happen. And when it's Cactus Jack,
Bang bang.
but yeah, there's nothing. There's very little in this world that can give you that that dopamine
thrill.
hit,
Yeah.
that thrill,
Yeah.
of like, wow, I can't believe that's
It's a whirlwind of emotions.
It certainly is. Certainly is. So, James, before we went on the air, speaking of professional wrestling, you saw something on Twitter.
Literally minutes before we cracked the mic. So,
Yeah.
saw
I
a
was
tweet.
even curious, and I was like, save it for the air.
Yeah.
I want details on the air.
So after WrestleMania every year, they tend to do a round of releases of, people that are kind of low to mid card that, just kind of floundering. And that doesn't mean they're gone forever. A lot of those people, Rhino, I think, has been released and then come back at least twice.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's doing his own thing locally.
Right. But it's always fascinating to see who gets cut and who does not. They'd already made a round of cuts, and it was like the Iconics. And there was
who else? I'm trying to remember.
There was a couple other people in there that I was like, I think Mickey James was one of them because she had the story about they sent her stuff in a trash bag, which was just ugh. You don't do that.
I'm sure the chat will remember more of the names, some of the bigger names that were let go.
But you were telling
me,
but they
did another round of cuts. Some big names.
Yeah,
Braun Strowman.
That's fascinating.
Aleister Black.
Wow, and they were just getting ready to bring him. Like I just
saw him a couple nights ago.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago. He was just back getting in the swing of things.
Right.
Lana.
That's not surprising.
No, but I feel like they were building her up with Naomi, weren't they?
They put her in a tag team with Naomi, and they spent like last year. They'd done some stuff with her where Nia Jax put her through a table like 7 or 8 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm. And I almost wonder if the Lana has to do with Miro being over at AEW. They're married. Is there some
that's been kind of
hostility there? Because I think he's been taking some shots on social media towards the company.
Yeah.
So that might be part of it. But Ruby Riott and
I can't
the Riot Squad were just
I can't believe
Liv Morgan.
You keep Liv Morgan, but you get rid of Ruby Riott.
Yeah, like I feel like those two go hand in hand. I'm not saying get rid of them both, but I feel like there's opportunity. I feel with the Riot Squad, Murphy, Santana Garrett, the other two that were named.
Yeah, Santana Garrett I think she was in NXT.
I'm not familiar with.
She was somebody that she was mostly somebody that would put somebody else over.
Mm-hmm. But Murphy, he was the one that supposedly was banging Rey Mysterio's daughter or whatever.
Yeah.
sad to see him go, but he wasn't really doing much for me.
Right.
But the names that I'm shocked by: Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Ruby Riott.
Yeah.
Like those three, I was like, wow.
They've spent years trying to just building Braun Strowman as this massive mountain of a man.
I was just gonna say, I came across him on my Raw travels.
Yeah.
That did not go well, and it was an argument between him and who's the Scottish guy.
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre. They had an argument over between the two of them which one was the kid. So again, geez Louise, not at all impressed. So
right.
I love Al's breakdown of professional wrestling because he makes it sound like the dumbest stuff you could ever imagine.
That's fair. That's fair. Most of the time, if you try and describe professional wrestling to somebody, if you stop and listen to yourself, you're like, this sounds so dumb.
That's why I'm always just like, it's just grown men in their underwear performing a live action stunt, improvised stunt show.
That was the thing watching that AEW thing too. When the Inner Circle was coming down, they were rappelling down like a SEAL team. I got some real Owen Hart vibes.
Oh,
when they first jumped out, I was like, oh, I can't believe we're doing this after Owen Hart. But it went well. It went fine. So nobody died.
The Aleister Black, that's the kind of like the Undertaker-ish guy you were telling me about, right?
Yeah, he's kind of like his character is kind of a Satanist, which is really funny. He had a great I can't remember the band that did his entrance theme.
Great entrance music, but he also had the cool like out of the ground.
They put him on they put him on a platform and he would come up like a vampire.
Yeah, and then they did something to where they made him. He was missing an eye, and he had like a rag tied around half of his face, and I feel like they really botched the Aleister Black.
That's the Aleister Black song. Who does that?
Entrance theme.
He was another one. He was another one that had a great NXT run. Like he was even NXT champion for a minute.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and but part of it was people would sing this song when he came. People would get hyped because of this
Incendiary?
entrance.
Is that a band?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
I'll wait for the lyrics to come in, but it's hilarious that people would sing along to this because I don't even know what the words are.
Something you can play on Midnight Metal, Al.
I guess so.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's a great.
I've got
to
nothing.
me, this is a song I would listen to in the car.
Yeah.
Like if this came on the radio, I'd be like, yeah, suck it, cops, I'm speeding.
This is my favorite part with the chorus in the back.
I never picked up on that. There is somebody go. That was someone's job. They got paid to do that.
Yeah, exactly. They called.
We need you to stand in the back and do your best orgasm sound. Or you're being sprayed by cold water like a sprinkler.
So according to this, it says artist performed by Cfos featuring Incendiary.
Incendiary, yeah. So Incendiary is probably the band. Cfos was the group that was doing a lot of the music the last couple years.
The WWE music that rips off mainstream music.
Yeah, right.
They're the ones that did the DX ripoffs of Rage Against the Machine.
No, that was Mr. Jim Johnson.
Oh, Mr. Jim Johnson.
Way back in the day. Jim Johnson did music for the WWE for like 30 or 40 years.
Oh, okay.
And then these CFO $ guys came in and started doing music, and they eventually cut Jim Johnson, which people were like, how can you do that?
Yeah.
He's the guy that made the Ultimate Warrior theme, which was
okay.
unquestionably the best part about Ultimate Warrior.
Well, yeah.
Was when that music started. And we were like,
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
That's insane. And you know, being a modern wrestling fan now, when WWE does make these cuts, your first thought is like, where are they going to land? Because there's so many other places they can land now.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of those guys will have probably if they have a budget at AEW, can easily land there.
Yeah.
Like, no problem.
Impact Wrestling's got an event coming up where like typically hits the 90-day no-compete clause of the round of cuts, the first round of cuts. So, you know, anybody could show up at that in July. By the end of summer, we could be seeing. Aleister Black is definitely going to be somewhere else.
I think so. Like, there's so much talent, and I think he's a cool character. It'd be a shame to not be able to see that still be brought to life in some way.
I just read somewhere too that his wife who left.
Oh, there's another one that maybe is on the chopping block due to.
Oh, she's gone.
Yeah, well, she got because of the whole Twitch situation.
Yeah, because of the Twitch situation. But she had been seen at the Performance Center a week or two ago.
Oh, really?
So people thought, oh, maybe they smoothed things over and she's coming back, and I guess not. No.
I don't think so.
Wow.
But yeah, like acronym official in the chat is saying they literally just started pushing Aleister Black.
Yeah, he had those cool Shadow Puppet promos and stuff going on.
I was like, what the heck?
But
I almost wonder if that all goes back to their spouses not getting along. I don't know why I can't think of his wife's name, her name in WWE.
I know it's escaping me too, and I'm sure Akron.
She used to manage Andrade. I can't talk to her.
Andrade.
Yeah, and there's rumors about him popping up on AEW.
Yeah, he's going to be over in AAA wrestling. He's actually going to fight Kenny Omega at their next big event, which AAA is a Mexican like luchador.
Oh, okay.
Wrestling organization.
It is neat. The one thing I'll say about AEW, some of the gimmicks might be cheesy, but they do a great job of being able to work with other wrestling promotions and helping cross promote.
Yeah.
And ultimately helping build up all the brands together.
Zelina
Gomez. I almost said Gomez. Oh my God.
Vega.
Selena Vega.
Yes.
Yes.
Selena Gomez on the brand. I don't know why. I didn't even tell you a Selena Gomez song. Yeah, Zelina Vegas. She didn't want to forego her
Today
Twitch
on
stream.
Nerd Radio, we learned that James is a secret Zelina Gomez fan.
I love me some of that Zelina Gomez.
And then speaking of wrestlers,
her and Adriana Grande.
Speaking of wrestlers kind of jumping ship, one of the things that they revealed at
There you go, James.
What was that? There we go.
There we go. The sweet, sweet sounds of one of those ladies. Actually, that's the sweet, sweet sounds of a DMCA strike.
Yeah, we're finally playing something that someone's going to notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got an email from Tesla. They said, thank you.
Yeah.
And can you do it again?
I got a little inside for you.
Like, you are our last action hero.
That song does rip. I listened to it last week.
Is it good?
I
It's
found
good.
it on Spotify and listened to the soundtrack. That song is great.
I think this is funny. So this is a little behind the scenes type of stuff. So Chuck and I do Midnight Metal together. He's the producer. You know, and we co-hosted together and everything like that. So he does a lot of the monitoring of requests and stuff like that. So he'll go through the Facebook page. He'll look at text messages while the show is live, and he'll, sometimes send me a list or whatever. And I was going through our shared document and looking over the requests for the week, and there was Tesla on the list. I was like, what? And it says Last Action Hero requested by James.
Did it get played?
It did not.
I went, delete.
How dare you, Al?
I tried. That's the system we work on, and I tried to slip it in.
The two-party system. Another flawed two-party system.
Yeah, well, now that Eric joins the team starting this week, he's got another avenue. Yeah.
And here's where the politics come in. So,
Exactly.
Eric, I hear you like Ghostbusters and pizza. Yeah. I happen to have both, as well as a request from Midnight Metal.
Yeah.
Tesla, Last Action Hero.
Well, there you go.
Al dedicated to me.
Yeah, check out Midnight Metal Thursday nights into Friday mornings on 101 WRF and streamable at WRF.com. There we go. How about that?
Nice. Well, that's
Excellent plug.
Al's done some work for today. He's done for today.
Can I go home now?
And he's on his way out. There he goes.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Get back here.
No, son of a god damn it.
Well, I don't see Robbie.
Oh, that's true.
He's fine. All right. One of the other things that happened at Double or Nothing is they announced that Mark Henry has joined All Elite Wrestling. He's going to be part of their Friday show in the same way that they got the Big Show, Paul White, to be a commentator on one of their YouTube shows.
That's the thing too. They've completely changed their schedule now, right? Because I went to tune into AEW and there was nothing on. Was it last Wednesday, or is that because of the pay-per-view that was happening on Sunday?
I think they wanted to do Friday night specifically because their pay-per-view was going to be that weekend, and they were trying to make it an all-weekend thing. Like Saturday, they did like a fan fest thing where people could come to Daly's place and get autographs and whatnot. But then this week it's going to be on Friday night too, and it's right after SmackDown, which I think is brilliant.
Oh, it's smart for them.
They announced that when they move Dynamite to TBS, I think in August or something on Wednesdays, they're going to have a second show Friday nights right after SmackDown.
On TNT?
On TNT at 10 p.m. And I think that's fascinating and a great idea because if you're a huge wrestling fan,
especially if it's new, if it's just going to be a recap of what happened or just replays, that's not going to be so hot. But if you're able to hit both fans of both wrestling promotions by putting yourself on after WWE, and I feel like the people that are into AEW, they're the later crowd. They're not going to bed like me at
10 o'clock.
I'm already half asleep at 9:15. I don't even know what's going on with SmackDown. I'm half conscious because of the hours I work. But I feel like those night hawks that are into wrestling, that's the perfect time. Friday night, SmackDown, AEW, double wrestling fix, and kick off the weekend.
It'll be good stuff. Did you hear what happened with your boy John Cena?
He had to apologize to China.
He did.
Yeah.
Because he said Taiwan was its own country.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Before anybody gets up in arms, look at what the United States government stance is on Taiwan.
Sure.
Before you light anybody else up. I'm not saying Taiwan's not a country.
Right.
But I'm saying look to see what the United States government recognizes Taiwan as.
Sure.
Because they recognize Taiwan as part of China. Now, with that being said, his boss has said you have to apologize. That's how I'm seeing it. If I went on the air, if I said something on this show, if I said something on the Dave and Chuck the Freak Show, or I said something on Checkpoint XP On Demand, and it made a client mad, I would probably have to issue an apology.
You apologize.
So that's how I'm looking at the John Cena situation.
It's always fascinating to me that he knows Mandarin.
Oh, it's amazing. That is how disciplined that man is.
Yeah.
How can he not respect that man's drive? He learned he would turn down moments with Nikki Bella. Thank you. Yes. Hype it up. He would turn down hanging out with Nikki Bella because there's nothing going on other than her doing Nikki Bella like dumb stuff.
Right.
To go practice his Mandarin. The man. Like, I could think of 1,000 other things I would possibly want to do with Nikki Bella that I'm not going to pass to go
John
learn
Cena,
Mandarin.
too.
Exactly.
Right.
John Cena. Well,
it's the same list. It's the same list.
They're very similar. If you run them down, very similar outfits, very similar activities.
I love the outfits.
Very similar outfits.
So
his fantasy takes place in the same closet.
Yeah. So this is my take on the John Cena thing. You know, you want to do business in China with the communists. Sometimes you got to play those communist games. You say something about Taiwan, it's going to upset the People's Republic of China. You gotta pay the piper, you know.
Right.
And you could tell by watching the video, he doesn't seem thrilled that he has to do it.
Right.
You know.
He definitely looks like, I know I done hecked up.
Yeah.
And I'm just making good here.
And I mean, the fact alone that he referred to Taiwan as a country should show like he doesn't look at the Taiwanese people in any less way, shape, or form. It's unfortunate that he had to apologize, but at the same time, does it really matter? Does it make America look?
I think it was specifically because he's in that Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
And I just read last night, according to a report, that their second weekend, they fell like 85% in how much money they made. They had their opening weekend, and then he did the video, and then he screwed up, and he had to apologize for saying that, and then the next week, like.
Yeah. The irony is he had to apologize because China couldn't see him.
But yeah, and I'm not saying Taiwan shouldn't be its own country. I feel like it should be, but I'm just saying, look at what our government recognizes it as.
Sure.
And that sort of, that's the sort of thing. Like it's, I don't know. I've had to apologize to people that I'm really not really sorry for saying mean things about, but to save face for a company or to save a job, I've had to apologize, and that's what I'm looking at.
James has done a lot of research to defend John Cena.
Because I talked about it on the Dave and Chuck the Freak Show.
Ah, okay.
And I got called un-American. A bunch of texts came through, pretty much calling me a Cena cuck or whatever they want to refer to me as. And I'm just like,
wow, rude.
Like, dude, like I'm not un-American. I love the United States. I'm proud to be from the United States. But I also understand when there's that much money at play, sometimes you're stuck having to do things you don't really want to do.
Right.
And he slipped up and he referred to Taiwan in a way that would make the Chinese government upset. It sucks. I think the whole situation is dumb.
I think
that's what you have to do.
No, I think it's dumb on all sides of it. I mean, who cares?
Yeah. Like
who cares?
The movie studios do, and they're the ones cutting the checks, and that's why,
Yeah,
right.
no, I got nothing against the guy for having to apologize. I think it's stupid that he had to, because again, like you said, the movie companies do care, but why? Why should you care?
Because they want China to play their movie.
Yeah, they make a lot of money over in China.
Yeah, no, I get it, and that's the other thing is like he's like, whatever, I'll do whatever I got to do to pay the bills or whatever. And but then people who are upset at him. Who cares?
How does it affect your life?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
How does it affect your life? It doesn't. So, and I'm not going to get into a debate with anybody.
I mean, God, and yes, on the other side of the argument for the Chinese government, they called it a country. Shut up.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? So what?
Exactly. And also, anybody who has a problem with
why it shouldn't have been a big deal that he apologized for it.
Yeah.
Because it's stupid and who cares?
And before anybody can pass any judgment, first, get yourself in a position to where you could cause your employer billions of dollars.
Right.
Okay. So get yourself into that position and then tell me that you wouldn't apologize. Because once you're in that position, you can speak on it. That's all I have to say. And it has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with any kind of government stuff. That's just, how it panned out, and I'm done. I feel like we've exhausted.
All right.
The John Cena apology to China topic, unless you have more to add.
I don't.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. I saw John Cena was in the news. I'm like, well, James is going to have a take on this.
Yeah.
And you did.
And he did what he had to do. You know, sometimes you got to kill a bunny rabbit because I'm not making very good analogies.
I don't understand where this is headed.
I think we should move on before James starts going Chris Crocker on this.
Leave John Cena alone.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a short break. When we come back, I've got some movie news. There's a movie that came out in 1993 that now has a director's cut that adds 20 minutes of new footage.
Ooh, I hope it's a good one.
And I'll tell you all about. Plus, we got our first glance at Lilith from the Borderlands movie. I'll fill you in on that and more when Nerd Radio comes back.